everyone, I hope you're in the pink of health, and those who are not feeling too well, please help yourself by lifting up yourself, and God will truly help those who help themselves. We have been battling this virus for over a year now, and we must not give up the fight. Let us keep boosting our immune system and be extra careful with our health protocols, and because we can never really be sure. You know, we have a couple of friends who were very careful, extra careful, and yet they both got it. And what perfect timing, ladies and gentlemen, that we have our Suki doctor with us, Dr. Bryan Lim, an infectious disease specialist. Well, you've heard from him before. We will hear from him again. Welcome back to Pilar and Friends, Dr. Bryan Lim. So, how are you, Doc?
Thank you so much for inviting me, Ma'am Pilar. So, level up na punta. We're in the phase 2 of our pandemic.
Exactly. It's a pleasure for us to have you back.
Likewise.
Yes. Well, Doc, let's go straight to the point.
Yes.
Let's not waste your time too much because we know that you're very busy. Please help us understand, Doc. You know, me, myself, I don't understand. And I'm sure a lot of the people don't understand what variant means. What does variant mean?
Okay, thank you for that question, Ma'am Pilar. Nasakto yun na, daghang kaayong mga terms that we need to learn. But we will simplify it, no?
I-simplify na lang nato para makasabot.
Makasabot yun ang tanan.
Yes.
Ang kaning virus, Ma'am Pilar, mura na siya chismis.
Oh, okay.
Mura na siya chismis. Diba ang chismis kung imong ipasa,
ipasa na sa pikas.
Ipasa ni mo sa pikas, mo change ang storya.
Diba? So in other words, that's what it is. That's what variant means.
Yeah, so what happens in a chismis, since mapasa na po sa imo ang chismis, nana na siya dagdag bawas. Di ba? Kay murag, mo bitaw kung nakichismis na nag-holding hands kasi usa ka tao, imo sila nag-uyab na mo, nag-minyo na mo, ang ba nag-divorce na mo. So murag, so the more that the chismis is passed on, naamig dagdag bawas kay wala may editor, right?
I see.
So that's how news actually changes also. In the viruses, especially this type of virus sa COVID, wala na siya editor. So once it is passed on, kung naagaling mga
once it is passed on to another person.
Yes, once it is passed on to another person, mo change gina siya.
So that's what you call, the process is called mutation.
Yes, mutation. So pag transfer ang nasa laing tao, naagaling mga errors.
Yeah. Yung anong maingon man sila nga, there is a virus coming from, let's say, Africa, it's another variant, or coming from UK, it's another variant. What does that mean? Nganong lain-lain man, murag lain-lain man kuno nga variant?
Yes, that's a very good question again. Okay, kaning virus, the more that it is passed on, the chances na naay mga errors mas higher.
I see.
Kaya wala siyang editor, no? Unlike, let's say, other viruses or kita, kung ang virus magud sa COVID, wala mo edit niya kung naay masayop. So, it logically, kung the more the transmission is, the higher the chances are na naibag-o na mulitaw na muna ng variant.
Another kind.
Oh, another kind.
But it's still COVID.
It's still COVID, but naay changes gamay sa iyang structure. Now, kaning UK variant, sikat man na.
Exactly.
The South African variant, na si Brazilian. If you will study all of these variants, they occurred during the surge of COVID-19 in those areas. Kaya it makes sense. Kung naa kay surge, pasabot ana, daghan kaayong nagpasapasahay og kanang virus. So ang virus, sige mutate, pag-transfer mo change, to the point na mugawa siya into these particular variants. Now, kaning variants, natin tawag na duha no variants of concern, no? Nya kanang variants under investigation. Kay kaning not all variants are dangerous.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Not all variants are dangerous.
Okay, to be honest, wala lang mabuti ng test. I'm sure there are hundreds of variants. Wala lang tani test. Wala lang tani check. Pero kaning mga variants, from time to time, naagi mo gawas na variant
na mas grabe.
Na pwede more infectious or pwede more deadly.
More deadly,
So, ang bottom line na to, Ana, we need to control our numbers because the higher the number of cases, the higher is the chance na na-mutate na to the point na maging increase ang iyahang infectiousness o iyahang lethality, no, sa atoa.
Onya, Doc. Yeah,
Sige.
I understand. Oh, thank you so much for all of those explanations that you have and very detailed ones. But for instance, kung magkasakit ka, no? Let's say for instance, during this time, okay? So, unsaon man pagkahibaw sa mga doktor, the ones treating the ones with COVID cases. Unsaon man pagkahibaw sa mga doktor nga grabe kaayo nga variant or dangerous kaayo nga variant na imong nakuha?
That's a very good question. Actually, di ta magkabalo kung di ta mag-genomic sequencing.
Unsa may genomic sequencing?
Genomic sequencing, lahi na siya sa PCR, kaya man natong swab, PCR, no? Na kani mga variants, even if they are different forms, ang PCR, ma-detect po na sila as either kung positive or negative, diba?
Pero maura na detect.
But we do not know kung
the
saan na sila.
Intensity of the or the danger,
Kung
or how dangerous it is.
Unless of course what we do here, if na-ay clustering, so for example sa ka-area na nanong manin na murag usually ang ilang numbers maura maninya karon murag didaghan man usually.
But Doc, you have handled COVID cases, right?
Oh, many hundreds already.
So what is your experience? I mean, how did you go about trying to diagnosing or trying to figure out what is the danger, how dangerous this is with this patient and this patient? Is it according to the symptoms?
That is kuan na siya no kanang there's some patterns in terms of kinsa gyud ang mo progress to severe. There are those who are high risk, no? So the elderly, those with comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, heart problems, and most of these patients really do progress. Some of these patients have the higher likelihood of progressing to severe.
So
no?
definitely yes.
Pero but what makes COVID really weird and dangerous, there's still so many things we don't know that even amongst the young, we are seeing patients progress into severe. Currently, I have 6 patients in their early 30s na manifesting with very severe COVID. Severe being they require oxygen, ilang lungs, kinaagid daghang yung kaayog mga damage from COVID. No? So, it only goes to show that there is still so much we don't know about COVID. So if you're going to ask me, if a patient gets COVID, can I assure that patient na di siya mo progress? I cannot.
You cannot.
I cannot. That's why we monitor frequently the oxygen, the temperature, etc. And those na naanaganing mga worsening na ilang mga symptoms, we advise them for admission. So that's the thing about COVID. A lot of the anxiety is really because of the so much uncertainty still, despite 1 year already in our...
because this is really the first time that we are experiencing this.
Yes.
I mean, you know, we were not born in the 19-something when there was Spanish flu. I mean, you know, this is a completely different, a new thing to everyone.
Yes.
Even to the doctors,
Yeah,
especially you. You're still a young doctor, so this is really something new. But on the other hand, how do you go about your treatment? Because I remember when my brother died, intubate siya, di ba?
Yes, yes.
Do you advise that to patients, intubation?
That's a very good question. The way we treat the virus,
I mean, go ahead.
the way we treat COVID really depends on where the patient is in the spectrum of disease, no? So for example, there are already guidelines now that will guide doctors in terms of how to manage COVID. We now know more than before. So for example, if the patient is still mild, supportive care already, you rest and then you eat well, no, you stay healthy.
Or boost your immune system with vitamin C
positive disposition
and zinc and vitamin D and all of that, prayers, etc.
Yeah, and then but when the patient already progresses into what we call
a different level,
wherein their oxygen goes down and their what we call inflammatory markers also increase, then the treatment is different.
Yeah, treatment
is different.
Yes.
Now, to make things more complicated, when you have COVID, your immune system is really gidaog gina sa COVID, you are now more prone to other infections also. So, imo sa nang i-address. No, so daghan kaayong complications. And even after COVID is no longer there, kanang mura magutsag as I see it, mura na siya kanang bagyo, niagi si mong lawas. Agi siya gupunin yung mong lawas. Wala na ang bagyo, but even if the storm is no longer there, na damage.
After effects.
Yes. And currently now, I lost a patient now na okay na yun siya. As in, yung lungs clearing already. Sa utama, no, na ay mga complications. Some of them develop heart attacks. Some of them stroke. So, kapait aning COVID, it aggravates what you already have.
Exactly.
Yes, your preconditions, your comorbidities,
yeah.
yes. So if you have diabetes, COVID can worsen it. If you have a heart failure, COVID can worsen it. Ang COVID is now we know, sa una, abi magunatog, respiratory system lang siya, but now we know it affects all organs. No, so that's why...
All organs?
Yes, potentially. Wow. So that's why usually the effect of COVID is multi-organ. No? So that's why it is so important to vaccinate, no? Of course, no? Kaya the vaccines are
so
here.
So you are for vaccines?
Definitely, we have to vaccinate. I think Cebu now, Ma'am Pilar, is in a very blessed state. Our cases are going down.
Going down.
And it's the best time to vaccinate.
Okay, now. I've heard that there are, like for instance, in Manila right now, the cases are going up.
Yes. Yes.
Compared to Cebu.
Yes.
That's why they're under ECQ now.
Yes, unfortunately.
What do you think is the cause of that?
Now, Manila, NCR, really is very troubling. No? What's happening now in Manila. I have had patients and friends who need to go to Tarlac. Kung ato bagid sila Tarlac, wala may vacancy ang mga, wala may vacancy ang hospitals. They go as far as the distance.
As the suburbs and the other areas
yeah,
of
kay
Luzon.
puno-puno na ang mga hospital.
Puno na ang mga hospital. Yes.
The thing with NCR, the 3 variants are already in NCR. There are already reports that the UK variant, the South African variant, and the Brazilian variant are already there. So it means these variants have been shown to be more infectious.
So in other words, since these are foreign name variants, would you say that these are people who came from those places?
Not necessarily.
What does that mean?
So that's why, okay, let's rewind a little bit.
Why do they have UK variant, African variant, Brazilian variant? Why is that so?
Yeah, actually,
why are these coming from those names?
Yeah. Actually,
why are they using those names?
We don't really recommend to use the name of the location where they were discovered as the name
so it's the name of the location where they were discovered.
That's where they were discovered, but it doesn't mean that it was only developed there. Because all these mutations can also occur in other areas. It's just that na-detect lang siya una dito sa ilaha. So karon sa NCR, really the increase in cases lahi masagot because dagko sila, daghan sila, and it's kind of difficult also to control, no? So and in all cases globally kani bitaw ingon sila na so Doc Bryan lipay na ka kay ato ang cases tingaok sa Cebu. It's actually a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because when cases are down, our health system is not overwhelmed, di kita makapoy. But it's a curse because that leads to complacency. If you will follow the graph in globally, munaog na gani ang cases, ang mga tao dili na magmask, dili na mag-social distancing, dili bahala na, mo-surge na po na. It's always the case. So we need to break that cycle. So everyone, karon nagagmay na atong kaso, mas kinahanglan, mas more aggressive ta to follow sa ato ang mga minimum health standards.
We still have to be able to follow protocol.
Yes.
Because we cannot just take things for granted.
Yes, I agree.
A lot of people died also because they took things for granted.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, that's
I
true.
know that.
That's true.
Anyway, Doc, I'm sure you did not take yourself for granted. Of course, this will also help the other frontliners, this question. How did you protect, how are you protecting yourself?
Thank you so much, Pilar. Thank you for, I'm still alive. No? With God's grace, I'm still alive.
You said that you have many patients, so
yes.
How are you protecting yourself?
Yes, so it's been a year and I have been, in my census is already 800 plus patients.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Because a lot of doctors died.
Yes, that's
I
true.
don't know how they protected themselves, but maybe it had something to do also with a low immune system.
So what I did, Ma'am Pilar, because we are always constantly exhausted. Naturally, I'm already assuming my immune system of course, it's tired. So when I go out, when I enter the hospital, actually when I go out, I never take off my mask.
You never take off
Never.
your mask?
So when I start doing rounds, I don't even drink water in the hospital. If ever I feel thirsty, I go out, I go to my car and drink. Because it's really when you take off your mask and when you eat with people wherein you are left vulnerable.
Correct.
That's the problem. And I live alone. I left my home. I don't want to. I don't want to spread.
Yeah.
But based on our studies also, based on several studies, most of the health workers get their COVID when they go home.
Correct. Now, talking about families, because in Pasay, for instance, where I go to Manila and I work there in Manila, I heard that there are families, one family in Pasay, that there were around 17 of them who got COVID.
Yes.
How are you going to go about advising them?
Yes.
I mean, as far as the family is concerned, because this is very dangerous. I mean, you know, one whole family is positive. Is positive. That's terrible.
Yes, and that's also the reality here in Cebu. So there was a point that I had 15 patients, all belonging to the same family. And it was really sad that I had a patient wherein there are 6 elderly patients. They isolated themselves for more than a year. And then their apo who was working came home and ate with them.
You know, that's why there are so many there are people who want to visit me.
Yeah.
And even my nieces and children, you know, with their babies and all. And I said, no, this is not the right time for you to visit me because you'll never know.
Sakto gina
I know that, you know, they don't have the symptoms, but there's people who are asymptomatic, right? So there should be how do you go about this problem? How do you think it's, you know, what is the solution?
Yes. So the first is a change in mindset, no? Kami mga doctors, we are actually the endliners rather than frontliners. Because when patients go to us, it means all the preventive measures have failed already. So the real frontliners now are people in their homes. So everyone must treat their home as the way as hospital.
Exactly.
So how do we do that? Because I visit my
That's
mom.
what I mean. So it's good for you to tell the public that everyone should treat their home as like a hospital.
Yes.
You knowing that the virus is in the midst of them.
Exactly. So so what I do, for example, when I visit my mom and she wants to eat together. So what I do, we eat at the parking lot. No, the table is quite long. I wear my mask first and she eats, no? And then after she eats, she wears her mask and then I eat. Something like that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, so
that's a good practice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you watch TV and when we watch TV together, I wear my mask because my mom doesn't like to wear a mask, no? Because hasulan siya. So ako na lang mag-mask, no? Yeah.
Like, parehan na to ka.
Oh, come on, yes.
Di man ko makamask kay, I have to talk man. I have to.
Yes.
So I have to look, you know. So it's good that you have your mask on.
Yes, and we are open air. This venue is very
like even when I go to beauty parlors or beauty
Yes.
salons, you know, they work on my hair and my face, etc. And there are times that when they wash me, I cannot mask. So I just have to make sure that all of them have their masks
Yes,
on.
that's the right way to do it. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Because we need to really be very careful, and that's the time, no? For example, when you're dealing with your friends, with your family, you think they don't have it, so you let your guards down.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where
And social distancing to me is very important.
Yes, yes. Agree.
You know, because masks, even if you have your masks on and you're still very near each other, like I went to Freedom Park yesterday to buy a bed for my helper. But I made sure, and I told him, don't get near anyone.
Yeah.
We had a mask on, but don't get near anyone because you'll never really know.
Exactly.
You'll never really know.
Exactly.
I mean, there's air going through all those masks.
Yes,
yes. You know, it's airborne. It's air. In other words, it's
there.
It can come out or it can come in.
Yes, exactly, exactly, Pilar.
So no need to, very important, social distancing. Anyway, Doc, thank you very, very much. And if there are other things that you want to share to our viewers, whatever it is that you want to share more or whatever you want, you can go ahead. If there's anything in mind, if any important thing left that I haven't asked you.
I think you asked me everything there is to be asked for the variants, no? But just a final message for everyone, I think, no, is the pandemic is a social issue. It requires a social solution, no? So, and I think now that cases are going down here in Cebu, this is the best time to vaccinate, no? So, when the opportunity comes and you are called by your LGU to register, please do consider seriously vaccination, because our decision to be vaccinated is not only just for us, but also for others in order to protect each other in this pandemic. No? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for all those detailed explanations. I'm sure that will be a big help to our viewers. And you talked about variant and mutation, etc., etc., and how to protect yourselves from the virus. I hope our viewers have become more knowledgeable about this. Friends, we will have more discussions with our Suking doctor, Dr. Bryan Lim, so we hope you will continue to watch us and to be in tune next week, right? So next week. In the meantime, let me encourage you with this verse of scripture taken from John 14:27. peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. So see you again next week, friends, in Pilar and Friends, and more from Doc Bryan next week for our part 2. God bless you all.